My life is over. Female, 19. Story 1. I won't go into much detail, but I think my life is over. I don't think I can have kids or a future partner because of my current situation. The person I was talking to told me he was clean and got tested before we started to do anything. A few days later, I felt uncomfortable down there, and there were white spots on my tonsils. I thought it was just a UTI, since there was no pain other than discomfort and a foul smell. I also thought the white stuff on my tonsils was tonsillitis, and I didn't think much of it since I had it before. Wrong. I was checked up by a doctor and told I had BV and HSV too. When I called him to let him know, he didn't sound scared, worried, or sorry. Just unfazed, not hesitating several times that he's clean when he's not. I liked this guy and had strong feelings for him, and I would never expect this to be the outcome between him and me. He doesn't even care or have any remorse. But then again, I blame myself. That night, there were so many complications, I felt like God was giving me a sign I decided to ignore. The more I think about it, the more I feel like he had it and knew, but didn't care. I want to cry, but no tears can come out. I want to scream and get mad, but I can't. Everyone else gets to live a normal lifestyle but me. Edit. A few people are saying, you should have used a condom, or it could have been prevented, which I doubt. BC, I did kiss him as well, which is why I'm not as mad at him as I should be, because I'm not sure if he had it and didn't know because his results could have came out negative, and he didn't have any symptoms, or if he did know and just didn't care. And if that were the case, people would have to face the consequences in life that they do to others. I am on medication for both prescribed to me by a doctor. I want to thank everyone so nice and helpful in the replies by giving me tips and advice. Story 2. Psychotic Boyfriend from Hell. This will be a long one, but the ending is insane. In my senior year of high school, one of my mutual friends introduced me to a guy 3 years older than me. We got along quite well and eventually started dating. He told me he had been in college since he was 2 years older. He had a nice little sports car that took me all around town and always insisted on paying. We'd go to the amusement park, hibachi restaurants, and karaoke. We ate out about 3-4 times a week, and he'd never let me pay. Summer came and went, and soon I started school at my college. After I realized how expensive school, books, rent, food, and life in general were, I started to question where he got his money. I guess I was a naive high school kid who didn't understand how expensive life was. He told me he was in a co-op internship program at his prestigious school and got a high-paying finance job, which paid him well. The school he told me he went to was about an hour away from mine, and he would often visit me. One day, I had a bad period cramp and a headache from the cramping, and he drove to me to bring me lunch Tylenol and keep me company. He told me he had plans to go to another city. I knew his ex would be there, but he assured me it was some other huge event where tons of mutual friends were all going. We had planned a double date with his best friend and girlfriend the day after he returned. He returns from his trip and his attitude towards me changes. He wasn't a nice, gentlemanly, and loving guy any longer. For example, on the double date, I went to the bathroom, and he was deep in conversation with his best friend. But as soon as he saw me, he mouthed, "I'll tell you later," as I walked towards the table. On the date, it was the first time I met this friend, so I'm trying not to make it awkward. His friend keeps bragging about how he lifts at the gym over dinner, so I turn to the girl jokingly and say, "Wow, lucky you." At that comment, my then boyfriend lost it. He told me I was ungrateful and should be lucky that he was dating me, not his friend's girlfriend. I started explaining my joking, but he cut me off mid-sentence and told me to just shut up. He was my ride home, so I held back my tears and bit my tongue. I couldn't believe that this guy who would drive over an hour to see me just a week ago would humiliate me and snap at me like that. Again, I was young, stupid, and naive, so I didn't address it on the way home, thinking that maybe he had a bad time in the other city or a bad day. A week passed, and he texted me, My friend is in a situation and needs some advice. He is dating a girl locally, but is also in love with a girl from another city. What should he do? I remember this so vividly because I was sitting on a bus home from class and trying to hold back my tears until I got home. But I responded, just date Kathy. Not her real name. He dared to ask me, how did you know I was talking about me? Anyway, we finally broke up, but he decided to drive to me that night for one final talk, and for me to give him his things back, whatever I had in my apartment of his. He admitted to cheating on me when he went to his exit city, and I had figured out of pettiness, and because my feelings were hurt, I flung a piece of receipt paper at him when we were done our talk at the restaurant. He was mad at me for disrespecting him because I flung a piece of paper at him. He scolded, yelled at me, and told me never to disrespect him again. That's the normal part of the story. Here's where it gets wild. A week after all of this goes down, his best friend from the double date messages me on Facebook and asks me how I'm doing. I honestly replied that I wasn't very good. He then told me that my ex wasn't the person he told me he was. His grades were so bad in high school that he had to drop out, so he forged a fake acceptance letter and mailed it to himself. His parents were so impressed that their pathetic son made it into college that they bought him a car. They also were about $20,000 to him every year for classes and rent, and that is where he gets his money. In his free time, he works a part-time job as a security guard for more dollars. I asked his friend why he told me this, and he said 2 reasons. Firstly, when he met me on the double date, he said I seemed nice and didn't deserve to be lied to. Secondly, because his friend's parents let my ex live with them, they have noticed that whatever cash they leave on the kitchen counter, loose coins, and a few small bills keep missing. They knew it was him, so they planned to kick him out soon. I confronted him. He told me not to tell his friends. He had lied to all his friends to keep up the facade, because if they heard it from anyone besides him, they wouldn't ever want to be his friend again. He said the apology and explanation should come from him. So the next day, he posts a long-ass post, almost as long as this one, on his Facebook wall. My best friend comes over, and we realize he made the post private only to me. I just blocked him and moved on with my life. Thankfully, we broke up in a few months. His cheating on me was a huge bullet. Dodged. Story 3. My teacher called my mom because I didn't show my face in a Zoom. Okay, today I attended a Zoom meeting about climate change. I only went because my teacher said that if you went, you wouldn't have work. So I decided to join the Zoom call. I don't like showing my face on Zoom or FaceTime. I'm like super self-conscious. So I disabled my camera and my profile picture was showing. It is a picture of me with peace signs. So my teacher didn't like this. She made my friend text me, asking me to show my face. So I did for the last 10 minutes. After my mom got a phone call from my teacher, my mom gave me my phone. My teacher said I wasn't representing the school and wouldn't get credit if I did that again. I tried to explain that I don't like showing my face. She, of course, didn't listen. I was actually about to cry because I was tired and confused. This is why students hate teachers. Story 4. Noticing small interactions between a single mom and her toddler son made me respect this woman much more than I would have otherwise. I hate flying, and I hate international flying even more. The lines constantly check the process's time, and overall length. When I got to my gate on my flight from Canada to the US, I noticed a mom at the window with her toddler son in a wheelchair, marveling over the size of the plane. She's putting on a show, and I get it. She's preparing her kid for his first flight. Come the time for boarding, this mom and her son are a part of the pre-boarding process. She's playing it up as she strolls him to the jet bridge. She says pretty loudly to him, "Get ready. It's time to go on the airplane." The kid raises his arms and yells, "Yay, airplane." Many of us at the gate crack a smile and let out a small laugh. including me. Good on her, I'm thinking. She's turning a mundane experience for many people into an amusement park ride for her son, and he's loving every minute of it. I finally get onto the plane and see this mother and son in their seat. The son's looking out the window and turns to his mom. "Are we gonna go high in the sky?" the kid asks his mom. "Oh yeah," the mom says, "really high." Then the kid lets out, "Are we going to be able to see Daddy?" The mom pauses, then smiles. "Oh, I don't know." I absorbed so much in this moment. What I saw as a cute interaction prior with this mother and son had just become so real to me. A grieving widow is trying to hold it together by making a mundane thing like flying the most exciting thing in the world to a son who doesn't fully understand death. As I let out a small laugh when seeing them at the gate, I would have wanted to applaud her for how she was handling things, had I known the situation. Story 5. Fucking pronouns. My aunt is pregnant, and a young lady came by for a little chat. Context. We don't know who this woman is. She asked my aunt how far along she is. My aunt says, "Oh, they're 7 months." For some reason, this young lady got so mad. She started saying, "Oh, you're one of those people who uses they, them. If your kid is a girl, just say she or he if it's a boy." Just imagine the absolute shock on my aunt's face. My jaw is literally on the ground, my aunt then told the lady. They're twins. I'm having 2 babies. That's why I'm using they, them. The yeet lady just walked away after that, and I and my aunt shit talked about her the rest of the day, Leo Mayo. But seriously, what the hell? Story 6. I sent an angry email to my high school teacher. My teacher screamed at me at the end of the day on Friday over my not turning in a physical copy of the homework. I use an iPad for all my schoolwork, and most of my teachers are cool with it, and Newfin encouraged me to use it, except this one teacher. She hates that I email her my finished work even though I do it correctly and turn it in on time. Like I said, my other teachers are cool with it and grade my work this way. I have done this for 2 months, ever since my back started hurting, and I had to keep fewer things in my book bag. She knows that I have a back injury and has even been emailed by my mother why I missed a few days of class, because it hurt so much. However, since I was late to class a few times for only a couple minutes due to going to the restroom and always being in a long line, she's had it out for me, thinking I want special privilege. She's taken me out into the hallway more than once to explain to me that I have to have either a pass to the restroom or I have to tell her I'm going to the bathroom, which is weird or whatever in my mind. But there are only 6 minutes to get to class, and it's almost impossible to run upstairs, wait in a long line of girls, go to the bathroom, and then get to class in under 6 minutes. I've had to explain to her more than once that I take a specific medication that makes me drink a lot of water, and so I have to go to the restroom more than others. But she has told me, I've got athletes in my classes, and they have to go to the restroom as well. They don't have to take my medication, but she didn't care. Then, on Friday, she started scolding me because I hadn't turned in my homework the way she wanted, even though I participated in class and did it right. I had had enough and put my hands up and said, "Look, it's Thanksgiving break and I don't want people yelling at me." I then started to walk away, and she lost it. She started screaming and yelling at me. "You better come back here. I could have you written up for insubordination," with a look on her face like she wanted to kill me. I slowly walked back over to her despite being scared as hell while she screamed at me about how she wasn't afraid to meet with my mom about this, how I was equal to everyone in my class, and that there wasn't any special privilege with me. After a few minutes, while she yelled at me, I waited patiently for her to finish, and when she was done, she looked extremely satisfied with herself. I tried to speak and explain myself, but then she yelled, "No, no." And I said, "I let you speak," but then she kept yelling. I threw my hands up and yelled at her to give me a 0 while walking away. She kept yelling, saying if I walked away, I would get a 0, and I kept yelling, "I'm okay with that. as another teacher walked into the room, looking confused as fuck as I left. I had a doctor's appointment that day, and my mother had to quickly take me to that and then drive to the hospital because my father was there. After getting home and crying, I wrote an angry email to this woman. This is what I said. Hello, Mrs. Insert name here. I'm glad you will talk to my mother about what happened before I left your class. I have spoken to her about what happened, and she will talk to you soon. However, your reaction to me walking away from you when you repeatedly said the same thing about privilege is not insubordination. It is not justified for you to borderline scream at me for a simple assignment. I can report you to an administrator for verbal harassment if you want to write me up for insubordination. Not only did you yell at me, but you threatened to get me in trouble. This goes back to what we discussed in the Socratic class seminar. Are people qualified to be police officers if they can't handle their reactions? Just like police officers, teachers have a big responsibility. Are you qualified to teach if you can't handle your temper? What kind of person yells at a person for walking away from them? These are questions you need to ask yourself. I don't know what is happening in your life now, but I can tell you, I will not stand there and let you yell me. You can get angry all you want, but at the end of the day, it reflects more on you as a teacher and person with how you responded to this situation. I take back what I said. I don't want a 0 and will not get a 0 for this assignment. I participated in class, did what I was supposed to do, and completed the paper. While you were getting angry and not letting me speak, I was trying to tell you that I could not print out the assignment. Your problem is that you're unwilling to grade my work, even though I have done the assignments because it's inconvenient for you. The rest of my teachers are grading my homework assignments this way easily, and Mrs. Surti, the assistant teacher here, said I could send it to her. You're being difficult and unreasonable. You will give me a grade and you will not give me a 0. Here's my work. Send her a copy of my work. Thanks for sticking with it to the end. I really appreciate that. Hope you enjoyed the video. A thumbs up from you would be great. Feel free to write your thoughts in the comments. It's interesting for everyone. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and activate the bell to stay up to date. Have a great day and see you soon.